Hello everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. Hope everyone is enjoying your day. We are going to do a special Valentine's Day edition of the Sunday Inspiration. So I am going to wait for everyone to get the notification that I am live here in a group, and then I'm also going to log in on a separate device so that I can see you all's comments and questions and answer those if we have any questions for today. So shout out to all of those who are happily celebrating Valentine's Day, for today, but a special shout out to my ladies who are single and who wish that they were celebrating with someone today. We're going to have a real honest discussion about being happily single. Is it possible to be happy and single and looking for love? And of course, because it's a Sunday inspiration, I'm going to bring some scriptures and everything into it too, and just tie it into a whole spiritual perspective. So let me first start off this conversation with being very transparent, with saying that I am 37 years old. I do not have children. I am not, married or in a committed relationship with anyone at this time. And so I'm coming from a place of currently being in it. And I'm going to be real honest about where I have been when it comes to my own journey of finding contentment in my singleness. But I'm not going to gloss over it in a way where I'm going to ignore, again, just the challenges that can come with that. So I strongly encourage you to, put any questions or anything that you may have in the chat, any comments that you have about the topic, so we can have an honest discussion. Because again, I'm going to be sharing my perspective, but I would love to hear your perspective as well. And so let's just first provide a basis just for, the conversation, with saying that, one, I 100% believe, and I am currently living the life of being single and happy and content, and also still desiring marriage. Like, I desire to be married and have kids, but getting to this point was a process. It was not automatic. I was not always happily single. And so that's why I really wanted to, really have this conversation with you all and just talk about it. So first and foremost, I think that from a spiritual perspective, the foundation of really being content with your singleness, even as you are waiting to connect with someone who you want to spend the rest of your life with, it's the first knowing who you are and knowing how much that God loves you. The Bible talks about how He loved us so much that He gave His only Son for us. The Bible tells us how we are fearfully and wonderfully made. It also talks to us about just all the love and care and affection that God has for us, and just all that He offers for us. So first and foremost, you really have to have the foundation of worthiness when it comes to even being single and being content. And so, but your worthiness cannot be built in a specific title or a relationship status. If you're looking for a specific relationship status to actually bring you happiness, one, it's going to be really hard to be happy until you have that certain relationship status. And on top of that, the relationship status, that happiness, or that, feeling like you finally arrived, like, it's going to be a temporary happiness, because at the end of the day, if your happiness is not rooted in your own self, the relationship is now going to experience a whole lot more strain, because you've been waiting for this relationship to come, and now you're putting all this weight and expectation on this relationship and on a human being. And so it's really important, again, with having the foundation of worthiness first within yourself and knowing who you are. So knowing that we are valued by God, that we are made in His image, and knowing that you are worthy of enjoying life now, even as a single woman. Now, here's the thing. It takes a lot of intention in order to, one, recognize the own worthiness within yourself, and to make a conscious decision that you are going to enjoy life now. So let's talk about this whole process of even getting to a point of worthiness, even outside of relationship status. For me, part of that process included doing counseling. It also included me connecting back to myself. At one point I was in a really toxic relationship that was so unhealthy for so many reasons. For the ladies here in the group, you've heard me talk about it a lot. But I had to really step back because one, the relationship wasn't healthy, but two, even my reasons for staying in a relationship was all caught up in, well, in order to meet this and have that and have a certain status in society, and to not be seen as something wrong. Because the first thing people ask when a woman hits 30 or over, and they're like, you're still single, what's wrong with you? Which is really messed up, by the way. But I'll get to that in a second. And so when it comes to even rejecting that, it really takes you being honest about the fact that, yes, I have these desires, but these desires are not what make me who I am. These desires are just an extension of who I am. And so when it comes to really finding this contentment and worthiness in yourself, you have to look inside of yourself and really start valuing you for who you are. You are an amazing person. You have so many awesome things about you. Does it mean you're perfect? Absolutely not. But even in not being perfect, that still does not mean you're not amazing. It doesn't mean you're not worthy. And so you have to be honest with yourself and get to this point of worthiness before you even try to connect to anyone else, right? And having this worthiness that doesn't deny your past, that doesn't deny your current reality, and also doesn't deny your future. So what does that mean? For me, what that means is that, okay, I'm not going to live in denial of the mistakes and poor choices that I made. At the same token, I'm not going to be extremely hard on myself and critical on myself because of the fact that I've made choices I'm not proud of. I'm also going to be honest about my present. My present for me right now in regards to, Valentine's Day is like, hey, I'm single, I'm 37 years old, I want to be married, I want to have children, and that's just not where I am. And then being honest about my future, which I just shared, is that this is where I want to be. I do want to be a mother. I do desire to be a wife, right? And so now having that honest conversation with myself about my past, my present, and my future, now I use all of that to inform just my own perspective of who I am. And so I acknowledge just the strength, the resources, the stamina, the skills that it took, the endurance that it took to even overcome what I've encountered in my past. I'm also about where I am, because even though I'm not where I am, I'm not where I want to be, I'm also not where I used to be. And so here's where it's really important, to again acknowledge and be honest and celebrate even where you are. We can get so caught up in a rat race of chasing after a specific goal or a specific destination that we can forget to celebrate who we are and what we are right here in this moment. And so, and when it comes to even being content, that's where, again, this self-reflection really comes into play, because this contentment allows you to, again, find happiness within yourself. Is that it's not based upon external circumstances, whether it's a relationship status, living in a particular place, meeting different professional or even educational goals. The contentment is all about you. So it's about, again, being focused on you and who God created you to be and how much God loves you, right? And so now that you have this contentment about yourself, and that you've based your worthiness in your own personal identity and who you are outside of everyone else and outside of desires that you want to achieve, now it's about being intentional with curating your life in a way that you focus on things that bring you joy, right? And so now, like for me, just to give examples, it meant, really being committed to my career and having opportunities to be able, or taking advantage of opportunities to be able to grow. And so even though I had a full-time job, or prior to even what I'm doing now, is that I had full-time employment, where I was working within social services and workforce development, I still did things outside of my 9 to 5 to really tie into my passions, because I wanted to do things that made me feel alive. And so that's part of the work that I do with even working with Sharia Farmer, who's the creator of this group, at the counseling center that she oversees, and doing different things there. And so tying that and being able to give back to the community in a way that really helped me to continue to see just my purpose and the impact that I can make on people, that helped me as well. In addition to even professional things, I also made sure just to have fun and do things that really makes me laugh and that is enjoyable and that's restorative for me. And so that would be either connecting with friends and hanging out with them. I mean, this is pre-pandemic. Okay, now that we're in the midst of a pandemic, it looks different. I have to do Zoom calls with my friends. But I made it a point to hang out with people that I have fun home with and just chill. In addition to even hanging out with people that were fun and that were positive and that were hilarious, I also did things on my own. And so I got comfortable in even being alone. Now, I want to put an emphasis on alone and not lonely, because part of the issue where it can come, part of the issue that comes out of really not finding contentment in your singleness is that you start focusing on, well, I'm lonely. There's a difference between being lonely and being alone. You can be by yourself but still be content, and that contentment comes again with being connected with those passions and those things that bring you joy. So for me, it was reading, it's music, it's writing, it's doing even like little crafts. I mean, I'm not the craftiest person, but just spending time doing things like that is really restorative for me. And it fills my time in a way where I don't feel like I'm missing out on something because of the fact that I'm not married or I'm not a mother yet, right? In addition to that, it's also taking the time to really heal. I mentioned that briefly a few moments ago, but taking that time to heal so that the silence is not even overwhelming. You know, sometimes our discontentment in our singleness comes from the fact that we haven't gotten to a place to be able to sit in silence with ourselves, to sit with our thoughts. And so if you're in contention with your thoughts, when it comes to just the things that come to mind when you're in silence, that's a clear sign that you actually need to sit in silence more. It's a sign that could also be a sign that you need to reach out to additional support to help someone to help you to navigate and work through those thoughts. Because depending on your own individual story and what you've had to survive and what you've endured, you may also need additional support to be able to work through some of those painful memories, for instance, that may come up, or memories of things and specific incidents that have happened to you. And so once you've gotten to this place of really being able to reconcile your past, and you're now able to sit in silence, now you're not going to be forced or feel like you have to fill that quote unquote silence with people or with things that are really not going to benefit you long term, right? So, you know, you won't settle for the situationships. You won't settle for being, you know, the side chick. You won't settle for someone just taking advantage of you and using you and taking advantage of your love and not really valuing for all you who you are. Like, being able to be alone, to sit in that silence and still find contentment is all about, again, finding that worthiness for yourself and taking the time to heal from everything that has happened in your past, and knowing that your current state also is just temporary and it's a time to enjoy. Because here's the thing, you know, I can tell you that, okay, now that I'm 37, I'm looking back over the years, like, initially, just to be honest, you know, my desire in my 20s was to be married with kids by the time I was 30, and to also meet like a couple of other goals as well. But we're focusing on relationships because it's Valentine's Day. So that was my initial desire, right? And then after just relationship experiences and things of that nature, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna chill in a relationship and not try to force this by 30. And so that's where, again, I took the time to really focus, to heal, and to start to get back to who I am, to reclaim my own identity, and to find contentment within myself. And so with that is that now I've seen that, okay, yeah, now I'm almost 40, right? And still single, still don't have children. And in this time, is that, does that mean now that the past 7 years or the past 10 years I shouldn't enjoy? Does that mean that the past 10 years have been a waste of time? Does that mean that there wasn't something valuable in the past 10 years? Absolutely not. And so you really have to reframe the way that you are even looking at not only just your day-to-day life, but everything that's happened in the past as well, and just see the value in what you have been able to do and experiences that you have had. For me personally, I can look back over the past 10 years since I stopped, you know, was in that last toxic relationship that I was in. I can look back over the past 10 years and I can acknowledge that there has been growth. I can acknowledge that I've achieved some goals that I want to achieve in my life. Not all of them. There's some major goals that I would have liked to achieve before 40 that, hey, it may not happen till after 40, but it's okay. And here's the thing, is that with society, we can get so caught up in being on this timeline. Like, I need to do this by 25. I need to hit this milestone by 30. I need to do this by 35. And I need to do this by 45, right? And it's like, it's nothing wrong with having goals and attaching a deadline to them, because that's actually smart strategic planning, right? But what is dangerous is when you get so caught up in a deadline, you get so caught in a specific date that you're not even being strategic and trying to get there, and also having compassion for what challenge you may have endured that may delay that initial time frame. Like I tell you, like for me personally, I've had some pretty major life issues unfold in the past 10 years, right? And so part of those life issues and needing to navigate through those also affected my ability to be able to achieve some of my goals sooner than later. But the thing about it is that if I achieve the goal, who cares if it's at 35 or it's at 45? At the end of the day, I'm putting myself in a position to honor all of my life, to enjoy every aspect of my life, and to know that when I get there in the timing for me, that's the timing for me, right? And so finding this contentment even for yourself, when I'm encouraging everyone, who's watching me watch live, who's watching the replay, is to really to let go of any dates and time frames that actually end up creating more pressure and create more frustration for you than actually inspiring you. If these deadlines are creating fear and anxiety and angst in you, then maybe you really need to reevaluate the deadlines, and you need to readjust your own schedule when it comes to when you're going to meet specific things in your life. And so now that we've talked about that, we talked about the readjustment even of priorities, we can also now talk about how do you found the contentment in yourself. You've been able to now sit in silence. You're able to be alone. You're able to go out and do things by yourself, right? You don't always need like all your girls with you in order to go out to the movies or go grab something to eat. You've done that. You've gotten to that point. Being single and still being happy does not mean you have to also deny the desire to be married and to have children and to have whatever else that you attach to those specific relationship goals. It's that this singleness or being content in singleness is not a denial of what you desire, but it's about putting your desires in perspective and not allowing your desires to hinder you from enjoying your present. There's so much to enjoy. I know for me, for today, it's a Sunday, so it kind of makes it a little bit easier for me personally because I'm a person of faith, and so being able to attend church because I'm part of the team that broadcasts our service virtually, and so doing that brings me joy. But I was able to see some of my friends, from church who are also part of the virtual team, and so here it is that now I can take joy in that. And so I made an intention to be content and happy with who did I see today? Who was I able to connect with? Like, okay, am I doing like some big romantic dinner with my boo? No, I haven't even met him yet. But that's okay, but that still doesn't mean I can't celebrate the relationships and everything that I have now and what I've been able to do. And even here now, like honestly, like I enjoy talking with you all, on Sunday afternoons. And so should I diminish how much I enjoy coming here live to talk to you all just because of the fact that I'm not in a committed relationship and I didn't get a dozen roses and flowers and chocolate? Well, I'm not really into flowers and chocolates anyway, but whatever. Y'all get the whole thing. Is that just because I didn't get some whole big Valentine's Day spread from a guy that I'm in a romantic relationship with, should that diminish all the other things that's going to happen today? I even have, other plans to connect with some friends later virtually. And so there's still things that you can do when it comes to still making a point about not just enjoying today, because to be honest, being content in your singleness is not just about Valentine's Day. It's about everything just afterwards. It's about what are you going to do the day after? What did you do yesterday? What did you do last month, right? What are you going to decide to do in March and April and May and June and all the days leading up until you do finally meet your spouse and you meet your partner? And what I really encourage everyone to do is to make the choice to live. Make the choice to live. Make the choice to still enjoy life. Your life, again, has so much to offer you, and it's so much more than relationship status. I saw this quote, and this is one of the final things I'm going to say. So if you have any tips, questions, or comments about singleness and contentment and desiring and being ready for love, you can drop those right in the chat. If you have a question about anything else, you can drop those in the chat too. I'll make sure that I'll answer that as well. I'm actually going to pull it up, the group up on my phone, so I can see what's happening to see if you all do have any questions or anything here. But if you do have any questions, you can put those right there in the chat because I now have that pulled up. But I saw this quote that someone had put up, and they said how single people and married people both think the other one has the grass is greener on the other side, right? So saying single people wish they were married, and then married people wish they were single. And so here's the other thing that I take from that is that while I am most certainly looking forward to all the wonderful things that come with marriage and being a mother, is that knowing is that there's a different responsibilities that comes with that as well. Is that it's not just all glitz and glam, right? There's dirty diapers you got to change, and supporting another, and supporting my husband and whatever he will go through in life, right? It's not like life is going to be perfect just because now that I'm married. And so just understanding that like the things that you cherish, that you think you're going to cherish when you're married, and that you hate about your singleness could possibly be things that now once you're married that you will cherish, that you'll miss about being single. Like I remember I was actually talking to one of my friends a while ago, and they talked about how, again, they really didn't enjoy being single. And so once they got married and they had a child, they were really excited and happy about that. But one of the things that they miss about their singleness is having time to themselves and being able to get up and move and do whatever they want to, when they want to do it, and not having to be concerned about this whole this whole process that needs to be done when it comes to even leaving the house. Like they can't just leave up and just go out of the country now. It's a whole process where now I gotta see, okay, am I taking a baby with me? Who's gonna watch my baby? Can my husband get off of work now too? And so, even though again, there's wonderful things that come about, that come from marriage and come from the union and come from being a mother, there's some also wonderful things about your singleness. And your singleness, your time of being alone, is also what prepares you for everything else to come. Just all of our current and our past experiences, it then becomes a foundation for what we eventually obtain in our future. And so when you think about a house, right? You can think about everything in the early part of your life is really about building the foundation for the house that you're going to build on top of that. And so even though you don't see the foundation, even though the foundation isn't all pretty, it's ugly and is, dirty, but it's weighty, it's what actually allows the beautiful pictures of the houses and allows you to be able to entertain and have all the memories that you have. The foundation is just as important. If you don't have the foundation, your house is not going to stand. And so when you think about the things that you want to even achieve later in life, that's the house that you want to build, right? When it comes to professional, educational, romantic goals, relational goals that you may have, it's all built on your season of singleness. It's built on the lessons and the experiences that you had from your teens, your childhood, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, whatever. All of that is the foundation that allows you to now be able to stand strong and sturdy and to be able to enjoy and to thrive in the later quote unquote house, metaphorical house that you are now building. And so don't neglect this time of singleness. Don't go through it just upset and angry and bitter. That's not to say that you can't have moments. Having a moment is real. Having that time when you're just like, man, like I really wish I had somebody to Netflix and chill with tonight, or to cuddle up with, or I wish I had someone to tell this funny joke with, or, I wish I could do the TikTok dance, the couples TikTok dances, right? Those are all real things to desire. And it's okay to have your moments, but don't allow those moments to turn into a permanent disposition that causes you to not enjoy the time where you are now. Life is worth living now. Life is worth enjoying now. There are awesome, amazing things about your now that you're going to appreciate once you get to your next. Don't be in such a hurry to get to your next that you don't enjoy your now and that you have regrets about your has been. All of that informs who you are and who you will be. So that is all that I have. I'm going to check the comments, see if we have any questions or comments. If you have any tips that you want to give to ladies, other ladies here, as far as like house, and not just enjoy today, but just enjoy your singleness period. You can put those right here in the chat, and I will read that out there for everyone to see, or to hear rather. We'll go from there. And then if you have any questions, you can put those there. While I'm waiting to see if there will be any questions before I head out, I'll go ahead and do just announcements specifically for the ladies of the Self-Care for Black Girls group. So you all know that, several days out of the week that we have someone from one of the admins who actually come in here live. So Sundays, I'm here for Sunday Inspiration. On Mondays, we have Michelle who comes for Monday Motivation. On Tuesdays, we have Sasha who is here for Fitness Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, Sharia is here with her live to give tips when it comes to navigating different aspects of life. And then on Thursday 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, 4:30-ish, Sharia, Michelle, and I are here together, unless, there's prior obligations. So like last week I was here by myself. But usually we're all here together, for our Emotional Health Thursdays. And then on Saturday is Small Business Saturday. And so Sharia and I actually come here. We post videos every single week to help you to be able to grow and maintain your business. And then once a month, we actually go live. And so we'll be going live either next Saturday or Saturday after next here in the group. So make sure that you watch live, because we also answer your business questions, your small business questions. So whether you're new to business or whether you've been in it for a minute and you have a struggle, you can ask your question and we will answer it live for free. Like, this is like free assistance. And we really talk about like real tips that can help you. Like, it's not fluff. So definitely check that out on Saturdays for the Small Business Saturdays. All right. So I don't see that we have any questions or anything here in the chat. Thank you to each of the ladies that watch it live. Shout out to each of you that will be watching the replay. If you're watching the replay and you have questions, you can definitely still put those in the chat, and I'll make sure to come back later on this evening to answer any of those questions or comments that you may have. For those of you watching this on my YouTube channel, you can also, again, drop it right there in the chat, and I'll make sure that I'll come back and respond as well. So I'm going to close out with saying happy Valentine's Day to everyone watching this. And again, encourage you to don't get so caught up in your next that you don't live your life now. Take care, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.